This is the Mazz and Bads Show with Brandon Marrazzo and Charlie Baduini.
A good Wednesday evening, my friends. Tuning into the Mazz and Bads Show. Mazz is not paying attention, but that's okay, because now he is.
Sorry, fellas.
How
It's mock
dare
draft
you?
season. It's mock draft season. I was looking at a mock draft.
Welcome into the Mazz and Bads Show. I'm your co-host, Charlie Baduini, accompanied, as always, by Brandon Mazz Marrazzo, and, of course, Mr. Producer, Anthony Cafone. Guys, here we are, 8:57 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Luka is currently back in Dallas with the Mavericks, playing the Mavericks with his new team, the Los Angeles Lakers. I haven't checked that score, but I did see he was crying at the tribute video, so that was pretty touching.
Lakers are up 3 right now, 60-57, 12 minutes left to go in the third quarter. Luka currently has 31 points. He's 6 for 8 from 3.
He's going to score 50. We're still going to lose.
You guys beat the Thunder Sunday night, Mazz.
Don't mean none. One game.
Okay.
That's crazy, bro. They were handing out shirts.
Anyway.
They were handing out shirts that said, thank you for everything in Slovenian. Oh, my God.
Like, cool. Nice. Made the shirts. Maybe you shouldn't have fucking traded him. Like, what? Like, come on.
No,
Give me a break.
No. Well,
Give me a break.
To be fair, there's only one person, two people that really wanted him traded. That was, owners and Nico Harrison.
Well,
Everybody else didn't want him to go.
Of course. Exactly. But the thing is like, yeah, make your shirts, but like it's obviously just pandering to the fans saying, oh, come back for Luka night because we're not going to be able to sell any tickets for the next 5 years or merchandise or jerseys or anything because we traded.
Take it easy. They still have Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving. They're going to sell tickets. They're just might not sell as much tickets.
A crap ton of Maverick season ticket holders canceled those things right after they traded Luka.
And guess what? If they start winning more games, people are going to jump back on because that's what happens. Everybody loves a winner. What happens? The same thing. Look, it's the Brooklyn Nets. When the Brooklyn Nets are trash, nobody wants to go to the games. And then when they're great, everybody's buying everything. People love winning. It's infectious. Now, there's some places that they love winning, but they just care about being there to begin with. And I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Dallas is a basketball city because it just ain't. However, when they win, I guarantee you people are going to want to be a part of it. They're going to start spending more money. They're going to be there. That's just how it works, my friend.
I don't know. Dallas is the top 5 sports market. Not even saying with just basketball in general, but I mean, you got the Cowboys there, the Stars, Rangers. They play in Arlington, so I don't know. So we don't have to rehash this because I think anyone and their mother would say that trade was terrible for that franchise, but it's whatever.
No, I'm just.
Don't even try. Don't even.
Well,
try.
I'll tell you right now. I think there's another fan base that should be upset, my friend. I don't understand what the hell is going on with the Denver Nuggets right now. GM and head coach fired. Mike Malone, the guy who just won a championship 2 damn years ago. GM who built the damn team for that championship. Sayonara, baby. Get him the hell out of here. What the hell are we doing?
So, from the information that I've gathered since that happened, and it was so confusing at first because no one really knew exactly what was going on, but apparently, and this has been reported by a lot of national guys, even local Denver media has been on this for the past few seasons. Is apparently those two guys hated each other, Booth and Malone.
Both of them go.
So instead of having to choose one in a power struggle, they said we're not going to foster this kind of relationship here because the problem is. So you have these two guys who are fighting to be the most powerful voice in the organization, right? So if you fire one and hire a new guy and bring him in, the other guy's immediately at the top of the pecking order, and the other guy's below him. So to me, it does make sense to just say, you know what? We're going to clean house, and we're going to bring in 2 new guys who can be at the tops of their positions this way. However, that doesn't mean you do it with 5 games to go in the regular season when you're a top 5 seed in the West. That doesn't make any sense to me. Finish the season out.
I'm going to take this a step further with you. All right. One, you absolutely don't do this right before playoffs. I never understood just firing a guy mid-season like this. You do it as soon as possible, not right on the doorstep of getting after it for playoffs. All right. Listen, the fact remains is that they have the best basketball player on the damn planet. I don't think he should be the MVP this season, but over the past 5 seasons, it's undeniably this is the guy. All right, so we all can agree there. So clearly he's the most important voice in the organization. I think everybody can agree, correct? However, you do not not only fire both of those guys right before playoffs. You got to choose one. You got to contribute success to somebody. It can't all just be that it's been on Jokic. I mean, Malone had to have some part of the success. The guy who built the damn roster had to have some part of the success. I think you got to choose a direction. If they both can't work together, that's fine. Clearly, they've been able to put differences aside and reach the pinnacle of the sport before. So I don't see, why it's like, oh, they both absolutely have to go. But if one has to leave, that's fine. I do not understand shipping both of them out when you got a good thing going. I mean, it's not like they're falling out of playoffs. It's not like they're, thriving for like a play. And don't get me wrong. I mean, Jokic's definitely keeping them alive and not necessarily what they wanted. But I think the roster has been a bigger part of the problem with other guys performing, especially injuries and all that. I just don't know how you look at Mike Malone and be like, and I don't even like Mike Malone. Let's not forget, I'm petty, all right? He talks crap about my Lakers all the time, even weeks after he's already beaten them, because, he's petty as hell too. Like, I am not a Mike Malone advocate, but you do not fire that guy. That is a championship winning coach. Like, you're not, who are you going to bring in better than Mike Malone right now that's out on the market?
Your boy Monty.
Maybe that. I'm always an advocate for Monty Williams, and if that's it, so be it. But no, I don't see Monty taking that job. He should be the Spurs coach, but that's for another day. We've already touched on that anyway. But I just don't understand how you look at both of them and be like, dude, we're just so sick of both of you, deuces. I gotta be honest with you. This kind of has scandal smelling all over it. I'm just waiting for it to come out. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just, crying wolf before it happens, but Chucky, it just doesn't make sense to me, and I'm very perplexed by this entire situation. Something had to have happened.
I don't think there's a scandal. I think it just boils down to those guys didn't like each other. They didn't want to pick one. They said, screw it, go both.
It makes no sense.
I also think Malone definitely lost the locker room. I think that definitely played a factor into this as well. A month ago, I forgot what game it was, you saw the press conference that they were putting on social media. It was circulating a lot after this firing that he was talking about he didn't name any names, but he was talking about certain players on the Denver roster and saying,
Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah, probably. I'm not gonna. We're not speculating here. But just saying that some certain guys weren't watching film, weren't doing the preparation, getting ready for certain games. That the coaching staff had to show these guys what they were doing wrong because they weren't, picking up or learning these things because they weren't watching the film after games and not really understanding what they needed to do better. And they were just kind of coasting. They were kind of just, that's why the Nuggets realistically this season should not be a 5 seed, 4 seed, or 4 seed. They should be a top 2 seed in the West. And that's a fact.
Okay, but then you have to attribute the losing to somebody. I don't think you can attribute to both the head coach and the GM right now. Especially, let's say that he's right.
Mike's a great schemer.
Let's say that
right now, the two things I probably blame is probably player execution, laziness, and the defense. The defense right now is 25th in the NBA in terms of scoring defense right now. It's not good. And, of course, some of that has to be played into Jokic and how he's kind of a liability on the defensive end, which he is. But it's also a matter of effort at times. And I think the Nuggets are having an effort issue. And I think the front office ownership group saw what was going on. And they said, hey,
let me put on my
if we're not getting effort from our players that we're paying all this money to, guys like, let's say, Michael Porter Jr., guys like Russell Westbrook, which I'm not associating these guys with any effort issues. Then they said they saw that and they said we don't see the effort being fully maximized. Then it's on the coach. And I don't believe that. I think Mike Malone's a great coach. I think he's doing what he can with this team right now. Nuggets fans, if you go on social media, Nuggets fans are praising God that they got rid of Mike Malone, even though he just won them a championship 2 seasons ago. I don't understand it, but it's just a crazy saga. There's going to be more information that comes from this in the coming days and weeks, and I want to see what unfolds, because I truly believe Mike Malone will get a job this offseason. With all these head coach openings that are going to be happening in the coming months, one team is going to be stupid not to sign a guy like Mike Malone to a contract.
So let me put on the tinfoil hat here. What if it was Jokic on the defensive end? What if that's what he was calling out this entire time? We have no clue, right? I mean, like, the defense has been poor. The weakest part of Jokic's game is that. I mean, like, is there any other player that he could not get along with that they would be willing to ship him out for? This is the only thing that is making sense.
I wouldn't think Jokic would be that kind of guy.
Jokic don't care about basketball, though. He just cares about just his horses and living a nice life. Like, he doesn't love basketball. He's so good at it, you don't give a damn. You think he's out there out training everybody?
We're also talking about, as we talked about before we even preface this with, he is the best basketball player on the planet right now. Yeah. The best offensive player of this generation. So, like, even if he is not as great defensively, I think you're taking that if you're an NBA coach. You know what I mean?
I think a coach's job is to make that guy the best that he can be. And if he's slacking off in an area and he's trying to hold him accountable, I don't feel that coach should be let go for that. However, that's what I'm saying. Like, there has to be more to the story. It can't just be the GM and the head coach didn't get along, and that's why. That just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I get that's what everybody's reporting. It just makes to fire both of them at this stage makes no sense. There has to be a bigger voice advocating for to get that out of the building. That's why I'm saying there's more to this. Maybe when I say scandal, I'm not saying that there has to be some inappropriate relationship or somebody committed a crime. I'm saying there's just more to it, and I wouldn't be surprised if a certain star player was just like, I don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm unhappy and we're not where we're supposed to be, and it's because of the lack of effort from leadership, and get these guys the hell out of here.
I just don't see it. I don't see it because Jokic and Malone over the years have had a good relationship. Like, it's never, you've never gotten any inkling that those two have ever been at each other's throats or just deciding that this is not working out. Like, you saw after the finals back in 2023, Malone went to Jokic's farm in the offseason to meet his horses. Like, these are guys who have been close, and they won a championship together. Jokic has won 3 and potentially now 4 MVPs under this guy's system. So it's like, sure. I don't see Jokic and Malone really having this so-called beef as what you're trying to describe.
I'm just saying, if I'm the reigning MVP, right? And if I'm out here just collecting rings, I've won the finals, and I'm as good as it, and maybe it's like, hey, maybe I didn't do this because of Malone's system. Maybe it really was all me. And as J. Cole once said, things change, rearrange, and so do I. It ain't always for the better, dog. I can't lie. So it's like, things change over a year. Like, just because he was at his farm doesn't mean that they didn't get into it. I don't know. I'm just speculating. I'm saying it makes no sense for this to happen when it happened. And you will not convince me that there's not something deeper going on here besides 2 guys didn't get along in the damn front office, and they decided not to keep one of them. I think you need to have a bigger voice from having it. Don't tell me the ownership was like, oh, we're just sick of putting up with these guys. They just won a chip 2 damn seasons ago, for crying out loud. I'm confused.
I think everybody is. I'm with you, Antho. I don't think there's any sort of inside job here from the guys on the roster. I think this definitely stemmed from a disagreement between the two of them that apparently they weren't even on speaking terms this past season. And I don't think ownership wanted to pick a side. I think they just said, we're just going to clean house. We have the best player on the planet. We're going to have our pick of the litter. People are going to be lining up for that Denver job, for the opportunity to coach Joker. You know what I'm saying? So I don't. The only part that confounds me is how late into the season they did it. Like if they did this after their second round exit, which they were probably heading for this season anyway, like I don't think anyone would have really batted an eye. But because they did it right now, that's what's making you put the tinfoil hat on, Mazz. That's what's making you say conspiracy. It's just I don't know.
I'm with you. That's like I said. Let me throw on the tinfoil hat. I'm not saying I necessarily believe it. I'm saying this just doesn't make sense, and I smell something fishy here. Now, here's my question for you. The last thing on this topic, fellas. You think that do you think it will be telling if they play better and better, like in terms of defense and more cohesive, without Malone being there, or do they fall apart at the seams because the main schemer isn't there?
I would say it could go either way. My money would be on it's more likely that things start to fall apart a bit more.
Oh, it's unraveling.
Dude, but Malone had he this was his 10th season as the Nuggets head coach. 10th season. He's the all-time winningest coach in franchise history. Won their only championship. It's the only guy Nikola Jokic has ever played for in the NBA. Jamal Murray, only guys that he's played for. I just I think this has a catastrophe written all over it.
And don't forget, the Jamal Murray would not be a Nugget if it wasn't for Mike Malone still. Like the fact that you think that all these guys turned on him after saving guys like Jamal Murray from being traded, developing a guy like Nikola Jokic into being a 4-time MVP. Like I can't see these guys turning on this guy after what he's done for them. I can't. Like it's to me it just doesn't. I wouldn't. Maybe I'm just too good of a guy to see that I would never turn my back on someone like that. That's done so much for me. But maybe I'm not in that locker room. I don't know. But I will say
Calvin
this.
Booth.
I will say this. That GM job is open. Don't be surprised if Bob Myers leaves ESPN, comes out of retirement, and becomes the Nuggets head coach, because they asked him.
Head coach.
No, I meant GM. My bad. GM, not coach.
GM.
GM. Comes out of retirement and becomes the GM of the Denver Nuggets. They asked him if there was one player that he would want to build around a franchise for the next 10 years. He said it would be Jokic. So if a guy like Bob Myers, who built a dynasty in Golden State, could potentially land this Denver job, ooh baby. I'm just gonna say right now, Denver could be in line to be winning 4 or 5 championships in the next 5 to 6 years.
Now, why would he do that?
Why would they do that?
No, I'm the Brian Windhorst meme. Now, why would they do that?
Do you agree with you, Charlie? Bob Myers?
I agree with you. And I remember seeing something a couple months ago about him being on the desk and then being like, oh, what would it take for you to come out of retirement and, go back into the NBA? And he just said it would have to be the right situation with the right players, right leadership in place. And what better place in the NBA right now than Denver, who was 2 years removed from NBA championship and has the best player on the planet. So yeah, I if I'm Bob Myers, I'd be taking that job too if I'm looking to get back into the NBA circles.
It'd be raps for the league. If Bob Myers goes to Denver, raps. Like I'm sorry.
I say maybe the Lakers, but let's be honest, Rob Pelinka's going absolutely nowhere after that trade for Lucas, so it's like we're stuck with him.
He bought himself like 5 years with that trade.
Oh yeah.
Right,
how much grace period do you think GMs have when they hit on things like this, like big trades, certain draft picks, like? How much do you think a guy could buy?
GM jobs are year to year. I'm talking
like a guy who's like, oh, you think that?
GM jobs are year to
year.
In modern,
there's no grace period
here.
In modern sports, unless you're like a dynasty guy who is around from the previous ownership group that the new ownership group trusts with their lives and will never fire because as long as they're making money, the team will be fine. New York Yankees, Brian Cashman. GMs from year to year are always on the hot seat, and that's my personal opinion.
Okay. What do you think, Chuck?
I mean, obviously it's 2 years because Booth won a championship 2 years ago, and now he's out the door. So,
yep.
I just saw a stat. It's like 4 of the last 5 NBA championship head coaches are fired.
Nick Nurse, Vogel, Malone. Who am I forgetting?
Milwaukee.
Help me out. Budenholzer.
That's 4.
That's 4?
Yeah. That's crazy. It's only Missoula
left. I gotta be honest.
And he won last year.
I gotta be honest. 2 of those were completely justified.
Who?
Budenholzer and Vogel?
What's up?
Budenholzer and Vogel?
Absolutely.
What about Nurse?
Ever since Kawhi left, they were always on the downward.
I gotta be honest, dude. I actually thought that Dwayne Casey should have never been fired during that situation. Like, Dwayne Casey absolutely would have won that championship if their GM would have made the same damn moves at that time. Like, any coach with that assembled roster and Kawhi on that sort of mission, they were winning that. Like, I don't know. So, yeah, maybe, go ahead. Hit it with 3. Whatever. But, yeah, Vogel and Budenholzer are absolutely, like, for performance-wise and just, like, I know, like, they've won chips, but they weren't doing anything for those teams. They were actually holding them back, especially offensively, both of them. But that's a story for another time. Chucky, 2.0, baby!
Mock draft 2.0. Let's go. We have some more information this time around, right?
Are you believing the Shador falling out of the lotteries?
Dude, I can't tell if it's legit or not because like it's smokescreen season. So like teams could be totally like just like saying, we don't like Shador. He's gonna drop just so teams pass on him so they can try and get him. You know what I mean? So
I don't understand. I don't know if the Giants are gonna do it, man. I really think we're going with the 2 quarterbacks that they brought in. I don't know. I don't know.
You know my theory with New York. I could reiterate it
intentionally
again.
tanking.
Potentially tanking.
No way.
And if it works out, it works out well. If it doesn't, they could fire everybody. And
Can you imagine
bring a rookie next year like Arch Manning?
Manning
with
in New
Travis
York
Hunter
again.
and Malik Neighbors.
It's not insane to think.
I just like to me, it's just like if I'm Joe Shane and Brian Dable, who they know that if they don't perform this year, they're going to get fired. Getting a rookie quarterback who you can get some flashes out of, that's going to buy you time.
However,
I don't think they would just lay down at the behest of Mara just so he can have a season to tank and go get Arch Manning. It doesn't make sense.
If they win, they win. Like, this is for Mara. Mara says if somehow Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston pull off the impossible and start winning games and get us to the playoffs, that's a win for John Mara because that's better for New York and everybody will get off his back. But if they lose and they tank, they could fire the front office. They could scapegoat all those guys.
They could go on
quarterback.
So go on a double date with Denver.
But like, there's the problem though is if you're Joe Shane, you're staking your job on Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. You like, no.
Well, hold on. I'm with you on that.
Are you staking it on? You're staking on the third overall pick in the draft? Yes.
If they no, for sure. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're gonna stake it, like, I hear what you're saying. I understand not going down with like the quarterback that you chose. I completely get that. However, if you think Travis Hunter is going to be what he says he can be, what the hype says he's gonna be, what the Heisman Trophy says he's going to be, then that's probably the guy that you go all in on. Where it's like, we cannot let go of the Iron Man of the NFL. This guy's gonna be a two-way star for the first time ever.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know.
So, I don't know.
Mock draft 2.0. Let's do it.
Let's get to it.
All right. So deviating from last time, Mazz, do you want to do odds? I'll do evens because we that's how we did the first one.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah. And then Ant will play judge, jury, and executioner for our draft picks. He will let us know how crap or good they were.
Kind of like grade it. I'll give you a grade.
I like that. I like that. All right, so that means, Mazz, you are on the clock with the first overall pick with the Tennessee Titans.
Well, I'm glad that I'm on the clock because now I can have my little tangent about Ant judging and how, I just want you to know, am I being graded for, like, I'm picking what I think that they're going to do, not what I think.
Yeah. I'm going to give you a grade based on what the situation calls for.
Okay, because I think I'm gonna make a pick that you're gonna be like, that's a crap pick, but it's not my fault if I think that's what they're gonna actually do.
I'll give you a D. So
okay, but that's not me getting the D. That's the team getting the D. I just want everybody to know that. All right.
No, it's you getting the D.
Pause. Anyway, fellas, with the number 1 overall pick, I think there's only one name who it's actually going to be. There could be a debate for Abdul Carter. Maybe it could be Travis Hunter jumping up with a recent Heisman win. But everything coming out of Tennessee only leads me to believe one man only, the best quarterback in college football last year, Cam Ward. Come on down. Thank you, Charlie, for already making the pick.
Yeah, you can pencil that in or put it in pen at this point. It's going to be Cam Ward first overall.
Okay, I'm grading that a B+. Okay. Because
I
I think it's a good pick. I just think Tennessee has a lot more things that they need to iron out with this roster. I honestly think an Abdul Carter at that pick is not too big of a stretch just because that could just be a cornerstone for their defense moving forward. But I don't hate Cam Ward. I think it's a solid pick for what they need in the current moment. So that's why I'm giving it a B+. It's a good pick.
I mean, coming off of last season of Will Levis being Will Levis and having Mason Rudolph as arguably the better option. I mean, they have to go here. It just has to be the pick, my friend.
Okay. Yeah, I respect it. I think either Cam Ward or Abdul Carter is a solid pick for what the Tennessee needs right now.
So, moving on to pick number 2 with the Cleveland Browns. I'm taking the best player in the class, and that's Travis Hunter out of Colorado.
Wow.
I know Abdul Carter is a great player, but Travis Hunter is generational, once-in-a-lifetime player who's going to be able to contribute for you on offense and defense, and the Cleveland Browns need a guy like that. I mean, Myles Garrett, he's a fantastic pass rusher, one of the best in the NFL, but he's not really a face of the franchise type, and I think Travis Hunter could be that for the Browns. It's especially something they need after the Deshaun Watson failure of an era. So Travis Hunter, second overall pick to the Cleveland Browns.
I mean, I got to give it an A just because Travis Hunter's best athlete we've seen in the draft in a decade. So I mean, no matter where you get Travis Hunter, whether it's Tennessee, Cleveland, Giants, I still think it's a cornerstone. Like that's the Shohei Ohtani of football right there. And I think even though it might be a reach for a team like Cleveland, that I mean, if you can get an Abdul Carter that could pair up with Myles Garrett, it's very beneficial to them. You can't knock Travis Hunter, man. He's just too good. So all right, I give it an A.
So listen, he forced my hand. I firmly believe that if the Giants do not go quarterback, they're going to be looking to go Travis Hunter if he's there. But of course, Charlie, having Cleveland take Travis, it's not insane. But I do think that this has been the most successful thing going for the Giants as a unit has been the defense. I think they would be looking to further solidify that. I think Abdul Carter would be the pick if he absolutely falls to them. And quite honestly, especially for a certain somebody not living up to expectations coming off the edge, how can you not go with Abdul Carter? It would just strengthen them. And you want to talk about generational talent, he very well might be the best player in the draft.
A+.
Thank you.
I firmly believe Abdul Carter is the best player in the draft. He's just a monster. Like we're talking just straight edge rushers. If you put him on that Giants front seven, Dexter Lawrence and Kayvon Thibodeau, that is the best pass rush in the NFL. And it's not like you could give me the Eagles. I'll give you the Eagles. Maybe the Niners with the Bosa brothers, but that team, and maybe even Steelers, but that is unbelievable. If you have Kayvon Thibodeau, Dexter Lawrence, and Abdul Carter,
Brian
who is
Burns
stopping
too?
that front seven? And Brian Burns. Oh my God, that's ridiculous. If the Giants get Abdul Carter, so I'll give that an A+.
Thank you.
So here at 4th overall with the New England Patriots, this is the doomsday scenario for them because they are praying and hoping that Shedeur Sanders goes in the top 3 because that means one of Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter falls to them at 4. Because after those 2 blue chippers, it's really kind of I don't know. Will Campbell's got short arms. Mason Graham. Tet McMillan. I would say their biggest need is probably offensive line, so I'll go Will Campbell here. Although, if I'm the Patriots and this is the exact draft board scenario on draft night, I am trying like hell to move back.
Can we move back?
No.
Simulator?
Mm-mm.
No, that's kind of. But I don't mind it. I think Will Campbell's probably the best offensive lineman in this draft right now. And for a team like New England, you have a cornerstone in Drake May as your quarterback. You got to protect him. It's just a smart pick. It's not the sexy, flashy Tet McMillan, but you just got Stephon Diggs in free agency. You don't need to reach for a receiver at the 4th overall pick. And I like McMillan a lot, but honestly, I think we're going to overdraft him because this wide receiver class is, frankly,
meh.
So I think they're probably going to reach for a guy like Tet McMillan, but I think Will Campbell's the smart, safe play for a team like New England. Charlie, give that an A.
Hell yeah, I'll take that.
All right, let's shake things up and let's get to our first overdraft because it's the Jaguars and they just find a way to buy into the hype. You know what I'm saying? And with it being a rough wide receiver class, as you said, I don't know if they're going to necessarily be looking for Tet McMillan, but I do think that they're going to be looking to get a target for Mr. Lawrence, and I think that a certain Penn State tight end could possibly, fix that situation, especially if they believe that he's going to be as good as people are saying. Maybe he's the next Brock Bowers. We saw that he was good for the Raiders. Maybe, just maybe, Tyler Warren could be the answer to their prayers, so they will think. I would not be surprised. Mr. Warren, come on down, overdrafted to the Jaguars, my friend.
Tyler Warren.
They still have Bretton Strange. And, I get it, they lost Ingram to free agency. But you got Bretton Strange. He's a solid option. I don't know if I would have gone Tyler Warren at that pick.
I just think that's what they might do.
I think when you got a Mason Graham on the board there, I might have wanted that more for their defense because that's been a struggle for them over the last couple of seasons.
Everything's been a struggle for them, my friend. Everything.
The running game's been solid the last few seasons.
Okay, sure. The passing game's been not what it's supposed to be. Lord's supposed to be a generational talent. He ain't living up to that. Why not go get him a weapon? Now, I think they should draft Mason Graham.
C+, man.
That's insane. Because I'm telling you, that is the most Jaguar moves you've ever seen in your life.
and that's why it's a C+.
I'm just saying.
That's why it's a C+.
I should get an A+.
You literally just told me that's the most Jaguar move ever.
I know. So that's why I should get an A+ for picking like the Jaguars. Thank you.
I love Tyler Warren. Don't get me wrong. I love him, but that's a C+, Mazz.
I'm not saying that should be the move. I actually think it should be Mason Graham, but I would not be surprised if the Jacksonville Jaguars take Warren.
You're supposed to take the player that you think the team should take.
No. I said I'm drafting. No, I said I'm drafting how I think the team's gonna draft, not who I think.
Then don't get mad when I give it a C+.
I'm getting mad. This is the Jaguars thing. I should get an A+ for thinking like the Jaguars. Thank you. Keep it moving.
All right. 6 overall with the Las Vegas Raiders. And this was the pick in our last mock draft, and I'm keeping it the same here. It's Ashton Jeanty here, 6 overall to the Raiders. They have absolutely nobody at running back. They literally had nobody last year besides Amir Abdullah starting games, and it just was not great. So you got Geno Smith in there. You still could use another pass catcher or two, but in order to jumpstart that run game that Pete Carroll loves so damn much, they're going to take the best running back in the draft, 6 overall, Ashton Jeanty to the Raiders.
Normally, I'm not a running back in the first round type of guy.
Boo.
I don't like when teams. I'm not that. They're just not a durable position. I mean, of course, you get your Derrick Henrys every decade, but and Saquon Barkley's every decade. Saquon made sense. You know what, Charlie? I think Ashton GT makes sense. I think it makes sense.
It absolutely makes sense.
I think Ashton GT does make sense, but he's a otherworldly running back. You talk about the size, the speed, the break tackle ability. I think for the Raiders, like you said, they've been depleted since Josh Jacobs left. They really don't have that answer at running back. Maybe I would have liked them to probably go an offensive line here at this pick. Of course, you have Armand Membu there. I feel like that would have been a reach pick at 6. Why not just get the stud out of Boise State? I don't hate it, but I'm going to give it a B+.
Reasonable.
It should be an F because he's going to be a Dallas Cowboy, mark my words, or I'll be crying on draft night. Other than that, that brings us to the 7th pick, and the JETS, Just End the Seasons, are up on the board. Love you, Chuck. Charlie, if it's anybody but an offensive lineman, you guys are schmucks. I think it absolutely has to be that, especially with what we saw. I mean, just anytime that you can add depth to the line, I mean, especially when you got a new quarterback, get him some damn protection. Mr. Armand Membu, come on down to the Jets.
Yeah, that's definitely been the most mocked selection there for the Jets. I mean, with the way the draft board has fallen, I wouldn't mind a Mason Graham here. I don't know. Ted McMillan, maybe, but I like the Membu pick because we desperately need a right 4 through 5 left tackle to right guard is set for the Jets. They need a right tackle in the worst way, and Membu's plug and play right there.
Yeah, and of course your defensive line, your D tackles, Quentin Williams is already a stud, so you really don't.
There's
need
nobody
to go
next
Mason
to him
Graham.
though. That's the problem.
Yeah, but is that really the biggest need for the Jets right now?
Not necessarily, but
what kind of vet, buddy?
I think when you have Armand Membu there that you can just pick up, and you already have an aging offensive line. That offensive line, what's the average age of the Jets' offensive line right now?
I mean, not really. Olu's going to be in his second year. John Simpson's like what, late 20s? So I guess so.
John Simpson's like 30, dude. He's old.
Joe Tippmann's entering his 3rd year. Elijah Vera Tucker's entering his 5th year.
Didn't he just come off an injury, Tippmann?
No,
I know Tucker did.
that was 2 seasons ago.
All right, yeah, but I get a young stud tackle, never hurts, and now you got Justin Fields to protect. So, I'll give that one an A.
All right, so now here I am with the Carolina Panthers on the clock, huh? I'm gonna go. I don't know why he's
secondary help.
I don't know why he's so low on this draft board here. Where is he? Jalen Walker out of Georgia. He's been shooting up draft boards recently. He's like the Micah Parsons played off-ball linebacker in college, will be a full-time edge rusher in the NFL. Physical specimen, freak, and they haven't really had any pass rush help since they traded Brian Burns. And I'm telling you, this guy's got a chance to be the best pass rusher in the draft, not named Abdul Carter. So Jalen Walker here, 8th overall to the Panthers.
Mason Graham's still there, Charlie.
They got Derek Brown, just like you said. If you got a great DT, what do you need another one for, right?
I guess. No, I guess you're right. And Jahdae Barron's there too. They could use the secondary help. Malachi Starks is there. They could use the secondary help. I like Walker. I think, that Georgia defense has been spectacular for many years, and they just breed linebackers like crazy. I mean, Jalen Walker, who's to say he's not going to be the next great Georgia linebacker to come out? But I do think it's a little bit of a reach. But we'll see how the mocks and things are going to play out a lot in these next 3-4 weeks, how it usually does. So I definitely could see Jalen Walker creeping his way up the draft board, like you said. But for now, as of April 9th, 2025, that's a C+. But it has the potential to get better as the draft season progresses.
I'm about to hit him with that. I just know that he's going to give me a C+ for this next pick. But
real quick. Go ahead. Jalen Walker is number 5 on Daniel Jeremiah's top 50 players in the draft. So just throw that out there.
The real question is,
keep an eye on him.
Where does Mel Kiper have him?
Who the hell is Mel Kiper?
Come on, dude. It's the most famous draft analyzer of all time.
Most famous, not the best.
Yeah, I've seen it. That's why I was laughing at.
Was it Irsay that said that?
I believe it was.
No, it was
Mel Kiper.
It was shoot, who was the scout that called? It was the guy he called Lamar a receiver when he was coming out in the draft.
Irsay, yeah.
Not Jim Irsay. That's the owner of the Colts. It was the GM at the time.
I thought it was just Irsay. Irsay's the GM and owner. He's like Jerry.
No, he's not.
Pretty sure he is.
And behind door number 1, fact check.
Bill Polian.
No, you're right. Doesn't he work for NFL.com, Bill Polian?
Something like that.
I don't know.
All right. Saints, 9.
C+ pick. I know you're going to hit me with it probably more. We'll see. But I just don't see a wide receiver just falling this much. I still, even with Mason Graham there, again, should be picked. I just don't think that they're going to do it because they're not competent. Ted McMillan, come on down to the Saints.
Yeah, you're right. That's a C.
Need an Olave right
I know. I know you were going to say that.
I think you got Olave there.
They
have another good receiver in that room as well.
Nah, they're going to pair it, I'm telling you. If Ted McMillan's there, that's the pick for them.
All right. I'll give it a B-.
Thank you.
Get a B- for that pick.
Thank you.
It's fine.
All right, Chicago Bears 10th overall. And if the board shakes out the way that it does here, I mean, they're running the card in for Mason Graham. Am I right or am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
You're absolutely wrong.
I'm wrong?
You're wrong. I think you're wrong.
What do they need?
Offensive lineman?
They traded for Joe Tooney.
Yeah, who else?
They traded for I can't remember his name, but they acquired another offensive lineman.
What team did they get him from? Remember?
It was Joe Tooney and who else? I don't know. I'm blanking. All right, Mason Graham's the pick here, 10th overall.
So bad right now. He just took my pick for the damn 49ers. I hate you.
That's an A+. Falling to 10 for the Bears. I mean, they already have the offense figured out. I mean, they should at least.
Joe Tooney and Jonah Jackson from the Rams. That's what it was.
Yeah, I think if you put Mason Graham on that front seven, they desperately need pass rushing help. Mason Graham's a great pick. That's A+.
Stole my pick. I'm just so mad. Can you go down just a little bit for me, my friend? Yep, there it is. I believe the San Francisco 49ers are probably going to be looking to get better on the defensive end.
Especially with all those losses.
Yep, I think that it's going to be a cornerback. I do like Barron, but I actually think it's going to end up being Will Johnson for them.
It's always the conversation. Is it Barron? Is it Johnson? Who's going to be that first corner off the board? I know a lot of people were saying they like Barron. Remember we had that one comment, whoever that guy was, shout out to you, who was talking about
he was pissed at
conversation. He was pissed at us. I think Will Johnson, he's more of a a zone scheme corner, right? If I'm mistaken, like he's more of a zone scheme guy. Are they bringing back Salah? Has that been confirmed yet, San Fran?
He's back.
Coordinator. He's back.
Yep.
He likes dogs, man. Will Johnson is a dog.
Size 2, I believe he's like 6'2".
Yeah, I like it. You know, actually, I like that for San Fran.
Thank you.
I'm gonna give that. Hey.
So here I am with the Dallas Cowboys, 12th overall, Mazz. And you're gonna hate me, but you need a running back.
Yes, I do. I don't hate this.
Marion Hampton out of North Carolina is an elite player. He's like, if you guys remember a few years ago, the Jahmyr Gibbs and Bijan Robinson draft, everybody talked about Bijan leading up to the draft, and no one was talking about Jahmyr Gibbs. And everyone was like, oh, late first, early second. And then the Lions picked him, what was it, like 12th overall. And everyone was like, what? That's Marion Hampton. He's going to be a fantastic player for the Cowboys. He's great hands, run out for the catch, good runner. Future superstar for the Dallas Cowboys, Marion Hampton, 12th overall.
I love it. If we lose out on Genty, that's probably like the only other guy that I want. I want a running back. I want to be able to move the ball. I don't want Dak having to take over everything on offense, for the love of God. We need another offensive weapon outside of CD. Like, please go pay a second wide receiver, and please, for the love of God, bring in a damn running back out of this draft. Preferably one of the two that I've just mentioned, of Genty or Hampton. I love the pick, and I don't care what you say, A+.
I do think Dallas needs a running back. I think I always believe starting younger at running back is the best option. So I think drafting a running back is definitely the thing. I don't think Omarion Hampton is going to fall to the second round. It's tough for me to say if they make the move for this, just purely because pass defense a little shaky for Dallas. It's a little shaky. And if Barron's there at 12, if I'm Dallas, I could consider making that move, just because, in my opinion, running backs are a dime a dozen. You can find a good running back in the second round. You can. It's possible. Running backs are always going to be there. They have the speed, size, ability. If they're in the NFL, they're going to be a solid running back. I personally would have taken Barron at this pick. I'm not upset at Hampton. I think he's going to be a really good running back in the NFL. So for that factor, I'm going to give this a B+. I wish you had taken Barron there.
He screwed you, Charlie. That's absolutely the Cowboys move. That is a Jerry move. You get an A+ for that. I fully believe
that's a Jerry move. That's an F.
Actually, hold on. Drafted CD. Drafted Micah. Drafted Dak. Drafted Martin over Johnny Manziel.
Tyron Smith.
When it comes to drafting, Jerry is money. It's the only thing he's good at. Other than that,
he's money, Jerry.
He's money, Jerry. Anyway, listen, we keep on bringing up Mr. Barron. I firmly believe that the Dolphins should be looking to increase that secondary. I could see this being a move for them. I think Barron would be the pick. If he falls.
Dolphins are hype as hell to be drafting Barron 13th overall here.
Absolutely. That's a great pick.
I don't know if he I really don't think he falls that far, but...
Well, their defense is aging, right? Like, they got so many aging guys on that defense right now.
Jalen Ramsey getting younger.
Would love to know Connor Cupin's views on this.
Xavier's gone, right? And so it's like...
Yep.
You need to start revamping it and getting that defense younger. It starts in the secondary. I always believe when you build a defense, you build it from the outside in. You get your corners, you get your safeties first, and then you go inside and you get your linebackers and D linemen. So I like Barron there. That's a great pick, A+.
Thank you.
So the Colts lost like 40% of their offensive line this free agency to the Vikings, believe it or not. Two of their interior guys went over there. So I'm looking for some sort of offensive lineman here. But also at the same time, they don't have any tight ends on the roster. Mo Alley Cox is a free agent. They haven't brought him back. Is Colston Love on the pick here?
Go guard here, potentially.
Could go what?
A guard.
Could go guard, but the problem is there's not a lot of great guards at the top of this draft. So it's almost like you're kind of wasting a pick there.
I don't know. I mean, guards usually go. There's usually one or two that go in the first round that get drafted, even if it's not a strong guard draft. Teams that draft based off of need, like a team like the Colts.
I'm going Colston Loveland out of Michigan. Probably the second best tight end in the class. Was the best tight end in this class before the season, before Tyler Warren broke out, but need somebody on the offense that can help Anthony Richardson. I mean, they have some receivers. The offensive line is meh, but having a do-it-all tight end helps a little tiny bit in all those areas. I'm going to go Colston Loveland here for the Colts.
And for a guy like Anthony Richardson, who has struggled in his first couple of seasons in the NFL, I think getting a security blanket that can open up a lot more passing lanes for him is huge. I don't hate this pick. It might be a little bit of a reach, but I think it's necessary for what the Colts really need. So that's why I'm going to give this one an A-.
Hell yeah. Mr. Mute.
Can't hear you.
My apologies, fellas. Solid pick there. That brings us down to Atlanta. Fellas, it has to be defense. It just has to be defense, right? It just has to be defense. Like, I'm looking at that team needs. I don't care what that team needs says. I'm looking at defense. Chucky, scroll down just a little bit for me. I would not. I can see Jahad Campbell being it. I also can see our friend out of Tennessee being it, if I'm not mistaken. They got a linebacker. Yeah, James Pierce. Edge, my apologies. But it's going to be my friend out of Boston, right there, Mr. Donovan Eziruaku. I think they're gonna end up making this pick. I think that this is gonna be it. My friend Ants loses his mind. What's up, buddy?
Oh, Mike Green, bro. I think Mike Green, he has the potential to be the best edge in the draft.
Eziruaku. That's what Atlanta's gonna do. Said what I said.
If this is me being like my personal opinion in this, I would rather Mike Green at that pick than Eziruaku, but I can't hate the Falcons are basing off of need if they're just evaluating things differently. If we're putting my opinion in this, if I'm the judge, if I'm the guy that has to make the decision here, I'm giving that a C.
Okay, listen, if I'm there, I'm probably
just because Mike Green is there.
I'm going to be honest with you. If I'm making the pick here, I'm in love with Jahad Campbell, so that's probably going to be my actual pick. However, that's what I see them doing.
All right, here I am.
Are you drafting based off what you see them doing? Are you drafting based off of what you would do?
Did I freeze?
For a second, I thought.
Charlie's thinking about this.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
How have you been drafting here? Mazz has been drafting based on what he thinks these teams are going to. That's why some of these picks have just been absolutely stupid.
Well, I mean, you know, the shoe fits it.
Are you thinking about what the Cardinals are doing at 16?
No, I was just waiting for that. Waiting for Mazz to answer the question, but.
So how have you been drafting? Is it this personal preference, or is this you're looking at it what you think this franchise is going to do?
I'm drafting as I'm looking at the team, looking at what they acquired in free agency and what they don't have, and making the pick based off my judgment. I'm not putting myself in the shoes of the team. You know what I mean? But
yeah, no, I've been role playing the entire night, my friend.
All right, okay. Well, here I am with the Arizona Cardinals. They need some defensive help, and there's a lot of good defensive players on the board. They have some aging linebackers. Budda Baker's getting old. They just signed Calais Campbell, so they're okay on the defensive line. And Josh Sweat. I think I might go offensive line here. Because they have Paris Johnson on the left tackle, but I think they still have like a 34-year-old Kelvin Beachum on the right side. So I'm going to go with Texas tackle Kelvin Banks Jr. here, 16th overall to the Cardinals. Get some more protection for Kyler, so he actually has time to throw the ball to Marvin Harrison Jr.
I like that pick. I do. Even though Jahad Campbell's there, Mike Green's there, guys that could benefit defense, Kyler needs help up front. That's just a fact. They got the weapons, I think, in Arizona. You got James Conner. You got Trey McBride, who I believe firmly is a top 3 tight end in the NFL right now. I will die on that hill. Yeah, I don't mind getting a tackle at that spot. Kelvin Banks is a talented tackle. Texas was, you talk about Quinn Ewers, he's one of the most protected quarterbacks in the country last year, and Kelvin Banks was definitely a guy that you thank for that. So and you can even that. I know Arizona says their needs is guard. You could potentially slide him over if you need to. Like, he's very versatile in that aspect. I think that's actually a very good pick for Arizona. I'm gonna give that one an A.
Mike Green to Cincinnati.
That is amazing, Mazz. I'm just giving you an A+ right there. That's probably the best pick you've had all night.
Thank you. Just makes sense. They need defensive help. Especially
gone.
You never know what's going to happen, with their contract situations. I think they're absolutely going to be looking to bring in a monster off the edge.
I think either Mike Green or Jahad Campbell at that pick, either or is for what Cincy has right now, it's perfect. Like, I think you already have Trey on the one side on the edge, but I think if you put Mike Green on the other side, it's Sam Hubbard gone. You're just replacing one really good edge rusher with another really good edge rusher. So sure. I actually really love that Mike Green pick. A+.
Thank you.
I'm double dipping on offensive line here. I'm back to back up my picks. I'm going Josh Simmons here for the Seahawks because I think they would have cracked the playoffs last year if they had just a bit just a tick better of an offensive line. They won 10 games last year with the crap guys up front. So getting some young talent up there, helping protect Sam Darnold. Can't go wrong with offensive line.
Can I just make a comment on this? If I had this pick, just thinking of like the Seahawks would, I think they'd be the team to make the risk on Mr. Luther Burden III.
Really?
They already have Cooper Kupp.
And JSN.
And JSN.
My bad. I forgot about Cooper Kupp. I was just thinking about new weapons for him. I completely forgot about Cooper Kupp. If they did it, that'd be the pick.
Yeah. I wouldn't have been. I'm not upset with offensive line there for Seattle, but I'm also not upset if you go defensively there, just because they got a couple of holes that they need to fill, especially up front. Can you scroll down a little bit for me, please? I wouldn't be upset with a Walter Nolan at that pick. Just because if you can get some big bodies up front, that's what Seattle has been kind of lacking in the run-stopping department the last couple of seasons. So I wouldn't have been upset with that at that pick. But Josh Simmons is a good offensive lineman. I'm going to give that a B.
Fellas, Buccaneers need defense. They like their linebackers. I think seeing Jahad Campbell there, it just has to be the pick for me.
I like that pick.
I mean, you still got Levante David. I mean, pairing him up with Levante David, that's a pretty good linebacking core. I'll be honest.
That is a Mazz pick and what I think they're going to do pick.
I think we've been seeing that a lot lately in the NFL the last couple of seasons. You already have this very good established inside linebacker. Even though you have that really good inside linebacker, you still need a Will on the other side that can really complement him. So you've been seeing teams, even though they have that established guy, go in that direction of taking a first or second round linebacker just to pair alongside, just so they have a good elite run stuffing unit that could even play coverage as well. Look at the Ravens when they had Patrick Queen, they still brought in a guy like Roquan Smith, and how that defense evolved 2 seasons ago. I know I'm bringing the Ravens into this, but it goes in many different directions how you want to go. Because I think personally, inside linebackers are the most important position on the defensive side of a football field. You can tell me edge rushers all you want. You can tell me corners all you want. Great, you need both of those. Inside linebacker runs the defense. He gets everybody in the right position. He's the one who's dictating where things are supposed to be going. And if you have a smart inside linebacker inside like Jahad Campbell is, alongside a guy like Devontae David, that defense is going to be well-versed, and everyone's going to be in the right spot. Love it.
And by the way, Levante David's not getting any younger, so it's your long-term replacement right there.
Yeah, you can have him learn from him for a few seasons there.
All right, Denver Broncos, 20th overall. I think this is the Luther Burden team here because this is a guy with top 10 talent. and you got a coach in Sean Payton who loves getting the most out of his guys. And he's not pressured to contribute right away because you still have Cortland Sutton, who's entering the last year of his contract. You got a couple young guys in like Marvin Mims and Troy Franklin who have shown some flashes, but no one's been really super consistent for them. So Luther Burden steps in as your wide receiver 2 this year. And then if you want to keep Cortland Sutton for another, short-term contract, great. But this guy's your long-term number 1 option for Bo Nix.
Question really is, do you value Burden or do you rather have Egbuka at that pick? It's just a matter of preference. I like both. I probably would side with Burden a little bit more over Egbuka. I love Egbuka a lot, though. But yeah, I like that pick for Denver. I think they do need a very good established young wide receiver. And I could know we don't have any trades in this. I know we don't, but I could see a team like Denver making a trade up into the top 10 potentially. Go after a Ted McMillan. I could. It's absolutely possible.
What about an Ashton Genty?
The trade up to get Ashton Genty for Denver?
Yes.
Ooh. Only thing is, like you said, Sutton's only getting older. I do think Denver needs an elite young pass catching option. Who knows? Maybe they trade that 20th overall pick for an established wideout if a team is trying to blow things up. I mean, let's look around the NFL and see a team that's trying to blow things up that has a really good pass catcher. A team that really comes to my mind in this aspect would probably be like a New Orleans, Chris Olave.
Potentially.
I could see that happening. If Denver gives a good trade package for that 20th pick and a couple other picks, maybe you can poach a Chris Olave off the New Orleans Saints. Possible.
Maybe. Fellas, I want to take this time to further double down on my wacky Seattle thing, where it's like, why not just give Sam Darnold all the weaponage with it? You never know. But moving forward with it, of course, that takes us to the Steelers. I refuse to believe that they're going to be starting the next season or even mini camp, whatever. They're not going to be starting anything with Mason Rudolph as their starting quarterback. I have no clue what the hell is going on with Aaron Rodgers. But as things stand today, Shedeur Sanders is probably going to end up being the pick. I know they've been talking about Jackson Dart as well.
Shedeur.
But if Shedeur is there, Shedeur Sanders will be the pick for the Steelers.
Shedeur lost to 21.
Lamar Jackson ended up falling all the way down to 30? It would not be. I would not be surprised.
You think Carolina would take him, maybe?
No.
I think that the way that Bryce Young stepped up, I think that they're going to be rocking with him at least one more season.
None of those teams need a quarterback.
Yeah. Okay.
They don't.
Reasonable.
They really don't. We didn't mess up there.
The Saints maybe.
Okay, maybe, but
could wait a year. They still got Carr for another season.
Sure,
They'd probably wait.
So I mean,
I don't hate it. Actually, I actually kind of like that. If I think the Steelers,
they're probably going to end up.
They're not going to wait till 21 though.
No, they would trade up to go get him, but that is going to end up just being their pick, so it all works out. Yeah, so.
There's no way they're going to wait at 21 for Shedeur because they're going to be nervous that something's going to happen. Team's going to trade up and potentially poach him.
But they absolutely have to go quarterback. If Shedeur's not there, it's going to be Jackson Dart.
I could see the Steelers making the move to get Shedeur, whether it be. But I think they're going to have to trade up. They're going to have to.
Sure, I agree. But I don't know, dude. He's been falling a lot, so it all depends.
All right, Chargers.
I think it's today.
Chargers on the clock. Definitely need some pass catchers, and when you need a pass catcher, where else better to look than The Ohio State University? Emeka Egbuka is going to be the new pass catcher for Justin Herbert.
The Chargers draft a receiver first round every year now. Every season they draft a receiver first round. Like, when are they going to finally hit on something?
They just can't hit, bro. They just can't hit.
Just got to keep throwing darts till one hits, dude.
Yeah, I think Egbuka is. I think Egbuka is solid, man. He's a really good receiver. And I agree. I think problem is with the Chargers, they're a very run-heavy team under Jim Harbaugh. very run heavy. So it's like you're gonna draft this guy to potentially get 700 yards in a year, 800 yards in a year. Like, I don't see Harbaugh, even though they need a wideout, making the move for a wideout. Honestly, I can see them going Kenneth Grant there.
Old blue and yellow ties.
Yeah, with the Michigan ties, especially. You think Jim Harbaugh is drafting a guy from Ohio State?
Honestly, yeah. I don't think he gives a damn about that. Yeah, I'm actually with Charlie. I don't think he gives a damn. He's gonna go with who he thinks the best talent is.
Yeah. I'm having these conversations about what I think the Chargers would actually do.
Sure.
I think Greg Book is a good pick. I would give that an A-, but I'm just saying the Chargers. I don't know if they'll pull the trigger on an Ohio State wide receiver.
Packers off the clock, Mazz.
Obviously, like, I would like them to go wide receiver and go get a sure thing going. I just don't think that they would be waiting this far to go get one. So I'm gonna need you to scroll down just a little bit for me. I think we might have found our pick. Hold on. But I do think James Pierce. Oh, this is hard. Yeah, dude, I think that it's going to come down to two guys for them. I think it's going to be an edge. I've seen mock drafts that have Mikael Williams, but I think it should be James Pierce Jr., so I think that that's where they go.
Yeah, Rashawn Gary's not getting any younger. Lucas Van Ness is kind of disappointed since they drafted him in the first round 2 years ago. Could definitely use some
I
pass
could have
rush help.
seen Matthew Golden there. I could have. Problem is the Packers just got too many. They got good receivers. They're just not great.
No, if they're going to go wide receiver, they're going to get a guy that they believe is elite, and I just don't think that guy is on the board right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably the safe option just to get another edge rusher just to build around their defense. Problem is, I don't know. I'm moving the needle for the Packers for me. I think it's a B plus type of pick here.
So here with the Vikings, this is a trench pick for sure. Offensive line or defensive line. And I'm taking the best one available, which is Kenneth Grant out of Michigan to the Minnesota Vikings. Could use some big boys up front always. They were pretty poor at stopping the run last year. That was the one weak spot of their defense.
What else do they really need, man? Vikings they have one of the most complete rosters in the NFL, in my opinion. It's just you could have gone Malachi Starks there with him dropping all the way low. Harrison Smith's getting older in that secondary. So I could definitely see the Vikings maybe going the Malachi Starks route and just getting a nice young safety and maybe not starting him right away, maybe getting him used to the NFL speed, and then probably by week 7 or week 8 he gets the full playing time at safety. I could have seen something like that. Kenneth Grant's not a bad pick. I'm going to go B there.
I don't mind it. That brings us to the Texans, where if there's one thing that they've proven, they're going to look to help C.J. Stroud out at any point that they could. Stephon Diggs is no longer there. Matthew Golden, come on down.
I like it.
Yeah, Texans don't have too many holes. You probably could have gone offensive line at that pick. But really, who's available right now on the offensive line? I mean, Gray's Rabel. I think we pretty much took almost all the good offensive linemen already. They're all off the board unless you want to go guard at that pick. I could see a guard going there to Houston at 25. I mean, you got Tank, you got Nico, but Tank's coming off an injury, a very bad injury, we might say. So it's
also
really
acquired
don't know how he's going to bounce back.
Christian Kirk as well.
And Christian Kirk, but he's coming off an injury too.
True.
It's the injured wide receiver core there in Houston. So it's you don't know
Gotta bolster the ranks.
what the status is going to be of those guys. So I don't mind a Matthew Golden there. I'll give that a B plus.
Thank you.
I think these mid first round picks are all B plus because you don't know how these guys are going to pan out. I think the first 15 you're all right, these guys are going to be studs. But once you get that, it's they're going to be really good NFL players. Do we know they're going to be superstars? That's the question.
All right, here we are with the Los Angeles Rams, who most of their defense is pretty solid. They don't really need too many additions there. with in terms of like a premium draft pick used on it.
Replacement,
maybe corner.
Maybe a replacement for Mr. Matthew Stafford long term.
Oh, Mazz, thank you for that. Because I was about to hop on an offensive lineman, but you're right. Jackson Dart, come on down, Mr. Matt Stafford, long-term replacement.
A freaking plus. That is a Charlie.
That's Mazz's pick, dude.
Mazz, thank you for giving them the idea. Because Jackson Dart is almost the same player archetype as a Matthew Stafford.
As Zach Wilson?
You get Jackson Dart in the Sean McVay system, learning under Matt Stafford for a season. Oh my God, we might get what Justin Herbert is supposed to be.
Love you. I know that bothered Chucky too.
He will. If you give a season of Jackson Dart sitting behind Matt Stafford on a Sean McVay offense, that kid is going to become special. I will put the stamp on that. Woo. Stamp on that. That it will happen. A plus. The Rams will have their quarterback in the future. That's a fantastic pick. I love that. Love it.
Fellas, I gotta again give credit. A shout out Angie LaPuma, diehard Steelers fan, diehard Ole Miss fan. He's been raving about him, and he's been right even before the season started. Jackson Dart, this kid has the arm. He's a bit mobile. He just does everything that you ask of him. And I have not heard anybody else shooting up the draft board this season like I've heard this kid going. He was on top of it before anybody, and I think he's definitely probably going to make himself a first-round pick. With that being said, that brings us to the Baltimore Ravens. If there's anything that I know about the Ravens, it is defense, and you've guessed it, more defense. So that brings us to Malachi Starks.
Great pick.
Bolstering that secondary.
Ooh, him and Kyle Hamilton. Ooh.
And, I mean, the problem is they have Ardarius Washington at their other safety spot who they just paid a multi-year contract extension. So it's like, the Ravens love to run different safety looks, so I could see Malachi Starks coming in, maybe being like a nickel, potentially. I don't know. Probably the Ravens they always draft, like this is their thing. Like, they always have the late first round pick, and then they just draft the best available. Like they did it with Kyle Hamilton, they did it with Lamar Jackson. They always seems like whenever they're a late first round pick, they look at the draft board and they don't really even look at need. They just look at who's the best available player still there. And if we're going off of our mock right now, it's definitely Malachi Starks. So I can see the Ravens just go in that direction. That's the best player still on the board. We're going to take the best player that's still there. I'm going to give that a B+.
You kidding me?
I don't know, man.
This can never make you happy.
It's just not what the Ravens need.
But it's what they'll do. That is a Ravens pick every day of the week.
I wouldn't mind a Michael Williams there.
Can I get an overall grade at the end of this for me pretending to be the teams?
All right, you know what? I'm not going to give that a B+. I'll give that an A. Yeah,
Thank you.
I'll give that an A.
Convinced me. Convinced
me.
Thank you.
All right. Detroit Lions on the clock, and their offensive line is old as shit. I'm pretty sure like 4/5 of those guys are on the wrong side of 30.
Outside of Panay.
Outside of Panay Sewell. So I'm going to be taking not Gray Zabel, but Josh Connerly Jr. out of Oregon. I think this guy's a relatively pro-ready offensive lineman. Has good size, has good height and weight, good arm length, and started 4 years at the Big Ten. Well, 1 with the Big Ten and 3 with the Pac-12. But Josh Connerly Jr., come on down. You're going to Detroit.
You're going to have the Oregon boys on either side.
Yes, sir.
Jared Goff. Yeah, they definitely could go in their direction. Does it say the number one need? Am I reading this right? The number one need for Detroit is a wide receiver?
According to Pro Football Focus, yes.
Yeah, that's crazy to me.
Right?
They just had 2 1,000-yard receivers. Why do they need another one?
I don't know.
They definitely need maybe an inside linebacker, maybe some offensive line help. I don't think wide receiver is their number one pressing need right now. That's kind of dumb, but I think Connolly's a good prospect. I think Oregon has a knack for developing good young offensive linemen. And I think for Detroit, the thing with Detroit is whatever player comes through that system, they're going to become an absolute stud dog. I don't know how they do it lately, Dan Campbell. It's just now the coordinators are a little different. Glenn's gone, and Johnson's gone. So it's like, who do you really trust to develop these guys? Do they still have the developmental guys to get these guys moving in the right direction? But I think for what they need right now, it's solid. I'm going to give this an A-.
By the way, quick update. Lakers beat the Mavericks by 15 points. Luka finished with 45.
31.5 and finished with 45. Yeah. Are you happy, Mazz? Are you happy?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Okay.
I am. So this brings us to Washington. I don't think it's going to be a running back. I don't think that's going to be the move for them. I would not be surprised if they go an offensive lineman at guard. But if I know Dan Quinn and I know him decently, it's defense. It's his baby. He loves it. I'm pretty sure that when he was a head coach, that team, although did go offensive lineman a couple of times, being the Falcons, I also believe that they went defense a hell of a lot more. With that being said, I think it's going to be an edge. I believe Mykel Williams, come on down.
Love it. Because, I mean, they have a few edge rush options right now. I know they got rid of Jonathan Allen. I know they don't really have a lot up front currently. But Mykel Williams, I think at this point in the draft, I think he's probably your best value pick. And I think for a team like Washington that could use some edge help, I think it's a good pick. I think, again, you can get a running back in the second round if you need to. There's gonna be guys there that you can find and mold. I think Mykel Williams is a good pick. I'm gonna give that an A.
Thank you.
All right, I'm on the clock with the Buffalo Bills, and I think they need secondary help because, I mean, they had one injury last year in the playoffs, and then you saw Kaiir Elam just getting absolutely blitzkrieged by the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes and company. So I'm going best corner available. Don't know too much about him. Siobhan Ravel out of ECU. You're a Buffalo Bill.
Yeah, they just need defensive help. Shamar Stewart wouldn't have been a bad option at that pick either. But I don't mind the secondary help. Like, who do you really have back there now? Poyer gone, right? You have a couple of guys starting to age out of that system. You got to revamp and get younger. Buffalo, I don't mind it. I think also receiver. I don't know why they don't have a receiver as a need there either. How does Detroit have their biggest need, a receiver, but Buffalo doesn't have a receiver need?
I don't know, man.
This is what I don't understand. Like, they just put random positions as their needs here.
Next week we'll try a different website.
Like, how does Buffalo not need a wide receiver? Like, who do they have right now? Keon Coleman, Amari Cooper.
Well, draft's in 2 weeks, correct?
3.
3 weeks.
Yeah, no,
So
but I think Revel's a good pick. I honestly, I
2.5.
I would have taken a receiver here. I think Buffalo trades up for a receiver. I think that could happen.
Okay. I mean, trades are going to happen. We all know that. It's just
trades are going to happen. I think Buffalo's going to be a team that trades up for a wide receiver. Because Josh needs weapons. Weapons. It's just, who does he have to throw to right now? Nobody. Just get him someone.
One guy. Shakir.
Shakir. Jan Coleman.
Hopefully he can take the next step.
34-year-old Amari Cooper.
Tarzan's playing for the Patriots now, so.
Yeah, you got to get him a wide receiver, man.
Amari Cooper did absolutely
Buffalo,
nothing.
For the love of God, trade up. Last year you had the chance to get Xavier Worthy, and you passed it up and you traded it to the Chiefs. Buffalo is the most... All right, I'm just going to say this right now. I'm going to go on a little rant here. Buffalo is probably the most excruciating, annoying team to watch in the NFL draft year in and year out because they just constantly make the dumbest decisions every year. It's like, when are they going to figure out what their team actually needs and get the right guy? passed on Xavier Worthy last year. Don't make the same mistake again.
But you know what would have happened? They would have taken Worthy, and then we'd be talking about how they passed on Coleman because Coleman would have been the greatest thing for the Chiefs. Probably. Speaking of the Chiefs, that brings us to it. I think they go best player available. Walter Nolan. They need. Defense is always helpful, right? I mean, they're not getting any younger on that front too. So, come on.
And they got absolutely.
Chiefs, Walter.
Go ahead, Ant.
Knowing the Chiefs, Walter Nolan's going to have like 8 sacks his first year as a D tackle. He's going to be fantastic. So.
Yeah, I mean,
great.
We saw them get steamrolled by the Eagles in the Super Bowl, so they need some defensive help to reload that thing. And Walter Nolan's a good pick
front.
There.
Yeah, I like.
All right.
I also think offensive line could definitely be where they go there, like Gray's able, because look at that Super Bowl. That 4-man rush was destroying that front. You can't go into this upcoming season with that offensive line again. It's just not going to work.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Nolan's a good player. I think he probably is the best available. Shamar Stewart, maybe at this point. Probably would have got an offensive line there, Mazz. Being honest.
I hear you, but they could come back in the second round, especially like. Let's be honest. I mean, like I know Grable's there, but the schools that these guys are coming from can, sometimes deter people. So
I honestly could see Kansas City trading out of that pick too.
Sure.
Like if there's no offensive lineman available, I could see them trading out. And
I know what Charlie's doing right now. It's the Eagles. He's looking for a Georgia Bulldog this second.
No, I'm taking Shamar. I was just wanted to see who was down there. I'm taking Shamar Stewart for the Eagles because they lost Josh Sweat. Bryce Huff was a non-factor for them this past season. They need some edge rush help. Milton Williams is gone. So, Shamar Stewart out of Texas A&M. Come on down, brother.
I just have one question.
The Nolan pick, I'm going to give a B. And for the Shamar Stewart pick, I'm going to give an A-.
What was the Revel pick?
The what pick?
Revel pick. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm probably going to give that a C.
That's fine. I gave that one a C.
Buffalo needs to get a receiver. They got to either trade up or they got to figure out a way to get a receiver in this draft. They have to. Have to. Okay.
I'm popping us back in the frame now.
2.0.
2.0 draft. Obviously, this is not what's going to happen for the sole fact that somebody's going to end up making trades. There's going to be multiple teams. I don't think Shedeur Sanders is going to fall that far, but I do believe that he's going to end up being a Pittsburgh Steeler, providing that the G-men don't make the decision on him. Would not be surprised if the Saints jump on that too, but I think for the most part we got it right. And overall, how'd you feel about the draft?
Of course, I gave my perspective here and there. I think the Bills should definitely go receiver, whether they trade up to get Egbuka or not. They need to get a pass-catching option for Josh Allen. Ravens getting Malachi Starks. I think they do draft best possible option. Do we think Malachi Starks drops that low? I don't think so. I think we let Malachi Starks drop a little bit too far.
I think the Dolphins take him 13th overall.
Ooh. Mind that. And I think Shedeur fell way too far.
Yeah, 100%. I agree.
I think Jackson Dart to L.A. is a fantastic pick.
Yeah.
As when you said that, they could go quarterback, and then Charlie, you went Jackson Dart. That was if you guys were in the L.A. war room at that moment, I would have kissed you if I was a Rams fan.
Charlie, did we just combine for the best pick of the draft?
Yeah, well, I mean, I
brought it up, but you still had to pull the trigger.
Dude, I totally forgot. I forgot about Sanders. I forgot about Dart. I just I don't even know. I had tunnel vision. I don't know.
Charlie, if there's one thing that I know about the NFL draft, somebody's gonna overdraft a quarterback.
Damn straight.
It just has to happen. 3 have to go at minimum. They're gonna hit the quota this time. And I need my final grade, not for drafting overall, but for drafting like a team, like the teams that I had.
If you're drafting like the teams that you had, like if you were going through the thought process of those GMs and like you try to formulate what they were going to do, I think you got an AA+ in that regard. That's what you were trying to do. But if you're actually trying to draft like what these teams need and what you got probably like a B.
Yeah, no, the first one that I went with, obviously I ended up with more picks than I thought I was going to, so like they were like half mine, half of just like what I've been seeing from like mock drafts, like boom, Mazz, of course, has his own opinions, always going to formulate his own opinions, but I promise you for 3.0, Mazz is coming with completely his own picks. It does not matter. It's what I think that these teams should do.
All right, fellas. That's going to do things for us here tonight. Thank you for tuning into the Mazz and Bad Show. Please check us out on TikTok, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Audacity,
Anchor.
Anchor.
I don't know. I'm shelling anything.
Yeah.
Actually, I think Anchor got bought out by Spotify, if I'm not mistaken.
So we're there anyway.
We're there. Wherever you want it, you can get it. Plug it in. And talk to your friends. Talk to your family. Girlfriends. Enemies. Co-workers. Whomever. Spread the word.
If they like sports, they'll like the Mazz and Bad Show.
You have been listening to the Mazz and Bad Show with Brandon Marrazzo and Charlie Baduini.